You finally get that long-awaited weekend off. You clear your schedule, sit down, and suddenly you can't get back up. You sleep for 11 hours straight, yet you wake up entirely drained, struggling to string together a basic conversation. It is common to look at this sudden exhaustion and diagnose the problem backward. We often assume that slowing down somehow broke us, because the old pace at least kept us functional. This fear, that rest creates weakness, is the exact trap that sends people sprinting back to their high-stress, high-speed routines. You were never actually functioning fine. You were simply moving too fast for the fatigue to catch you. Constant speed acts as a highly effective anesthetic. When your next task is always 10 minutes away, there is never a gap wide enough to actually feel the heavy weight you have been carrying until your momentum halts. The exhaustion hitting you on the couch is the delayed arrival of a long overdue physiological bill. Feeling terrible the moment you stop indicates that the debt is finally being acknowledged. Your entire nervous system has spent months, maybe years, organized around the next demand, pointed forward, leaning, and braced for impact. When that demand disappears, the system has nothing left to lean on. This bracing mechanism rarely switches off gradually. It usually just falls over. This abrupt collapse is why the first days of a break are miserable. This chart illustrates a typical crash. Days 1 through 3 see a steep negative drop in energy, the slump. True restorative rest begins around day 4, which ironically is exactly when most short holidays end. People who return from a quick trip and declare that vacations do not work are misreading the data. They simply only ever stayed long enough to attend the initial slump. Sitting in that slump is incredibly uncomfortable. When a chronic overfunctioner finds themselves trapped in couch lock on day 1, psychological panic usually follows. To escape the discomfort, we try to flip a rest switch, expecting instant relief, rather than accepting the slow, uncomfortable process of paying down a biological debt. Some try to fix the slump by installing a rigorous morning routine or a complex fitness plan, trying to prove they aren't lazy. Others fall into the tracker trap. They turn their sleep metrics and recovery scores into a brand new high-pressure job, where a bad night of sleep feels like a personal failure. If the numbers on your screen start making you tense, put the device in a drawer and give yourself permission to ignore the data. Attaching key performance indicators to your recovery just runs the same high-pressure engine under a wellness sticker. True recovery requires you to intentionally lower the bar of your day to a single task. Once that one thing is done, the day stops. You also need to let your sleep schedule become irregular and weird for a while. Trying to force an immaculate new routine onto a system finally allowed to sag just gives you one more thing to fail at. Movement should be gentle and non-virtuous. A basic walk counts fully toward your recovery. It does not need to become a structured training program. Prioritize quiet, warmth, and slow breathing. Our guide to the vagus nerve breaks down which of these methods the evidence actually supports. True treatment involves surrendering to this messy, structureless sack. If the fatigue feels deeply wrong, use your free will to see a medical professional instead of quietly enduring it. This chart compares what we expect from rest versus the reality. Actual exhaustion clears in undulating waves that widen over a period of weeks and months, not a single weekend. The lowest trough of these waves is the danger zone. This is the moment where people conclude that rest is not working, panic, and revert back to their old fast pace. Pushing through the low points eventually leads to the far side of the debt. Here you find genuine, spontaneous energy, the kind that shows up on a random Tuesday for no reason, simply wanting to create something. This differs from the jittery, borrowed, anxiety-driven energy that only appears at 4 in the afternoon because a massive deadline is looming. That 11-hour sleep represents the bill finally being paid. Fortunately, you can afford it now.